Mr. Bin. Bin.
Morning.
Bin, say all
Good
these
morning,
names.
sir.
Say all these names.
Sasquatch.
Good.
Abominable snowman. Loch Ness monster. Yeti.
Yeah. Abominable.
Yeah. Abominable.
Abominable. Thank you.
That's not bad.
Abominable.
Now,
Now,
do you know what Bigfoot
do you
is?
know
Or
what Bigfoot is? Or what?
Yes, I have heard about it.
Okay. Do you know which one is not
which
another
one is
name
not
for
another
Bigfoot?
name for Bigfoot?
She, Loch Ness monster.
Correct. Do you know what the
Correct.
Loch Ness
Do you know what
monster
the
is?
Loch Ness monster is?
I know. It looks like a kind of dragon.
Yes. Where is
Yes.
it?
Where is it?
What country?
What country?
I don't know what is that country. It's in Loch Ness Lake,
Yeah, Scotland.
Yeah. Scotland.
Scotland.
Yes.
Yes.
Part of Britain.
Part of Britain.
So that's the Loch Ness
So
monster.
that's the Loch Ness monster.
And as you say, Loch
And as you say,
Ness,
Ness.
a loch in Scottish
A loch
is
in
a very
Scottish
deep lake.
is a very deep lake.
And I think Loch Ness is
I
the
think
greatest
Loch Ness is the greatest
amount of fresh water on Earth. It's very deep. It's about 600 meters deep. So there's a lot of water. And they reckon this thing's swimming around in it. It's probably not correct. It's probably just a... Now, do you know what folklore is, Finn?
I know about folk, but I didn't know folklore.
All right, folk stories.
Folk stories.
What are they?
Story.
Yes.
Yes.
I got it.
Right. So folklore just means folk stories, legends.
Legends.
Probably not real. Okay?
Okay?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, the first one is Sasquatch. That's another name for Bigfoot. So Sasquatch is, I think it's Canadian. Abominable Snowman is in what's the cold place with Mount Everest? Or Nepal? Yeti, I think, is also a place like Nepal. So Sasquatch is the American or Canadian version of Bigfoot. So the Loch Ness monster. Good morning, Winnie. Or good afternoon. Winnie.
Yes.
Winnie, an artist something is a drawing based on what someone has described. So in other words, it's a picture done by an artist depending on how somebody describes something. So is it compression, suppression, depression, or impression?
Impression.
Good. An artist's impression. Now, what is compression?
Compression. make things to smaller.
Good. Suppression.
Suppression.
Suppression. To control something.
Yes, that will do. So to control something or hide something. And depression?
Feeling unhappy.
That's right. Which of those is mental health disease? So which one is a form of mental health disease?
Depression.
That's right. Okay, thank you, Winnie. Actually,
Thank
Winnie,
you.
in Taiwan, do people talk about depression on television?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because everybody here, go on. So what do they say?
They think exercise can make them more happier.
That's right. Now, there's something called bipolar disorder. Now, this is English and it's medical, but here in Australia, everybody knows about bipolar disorder. And at one end there is depression, and at the other end, excuse me, just let me put that off. All right, one end is depression, at the other end there is mania. Now, mania means manic. So mania, if you're manic, you're high. It's like being on drugs. So there's manic and depression. Why do you think it's called bipolar? Do you know the word bipolar? Or do you know the word pole?
On two end of something.
That's correct. So bipolar is two, or bi is two, polar ends. So two ends, one end is mania, one end is depression, and in the middle is normal. So which one are you, Winnie? Are you normal, depressed, or manic?
Manic.
You're manic, are you?
这个是no.
So you're normal now, not manic today, just normal.
Oh, normal. Yes.
That's good. Thank you, Winnie.
Thank you.
Joe. Yes.
What would you do if you found your friend in a bipolar situation?
Try and stay friends with them.
You're saying that it's a long period of time and not just a temporary state? When you said
No,
you try to be friends with them.
It's a permanent. It's a permanent disease. So for some of the time, bipolar. We call it bipolar disorder or BPD. It's a permanent mental health disease, and for most of the time, the people are normal. They're in the middle, but every so often they'll get depressed or they'll get manic. Sometimes they need drugs, sometimes they don't. So what would I do? I would try and just be friends with them, because it's very hard to manage, and if necessary, try and get them to a doctor. So if they're very, very crazy or very, very depressed, to try and get them to see a doctor.
Is it common in Australia, this state?
Depression is.
Yes.
Mania is not that common.
Okay.
And in fact, when you're manic, you can be quite dangerous. So people who are manic can kill people. So if they're manic, they often end up in jail. So if you're manic, you try and kill other people. If you're depressed, you try and kill yourself.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And the cause of that is still unknown. I mean, they can be only
Correct.
treated with chemicals, right? You have to see doctors.
They do. Well,
to sedate you.
they do say that exercise helps. So if you feel depressed, get out and do some exercise, because it increases the good feel chemicals in your brain.
Yes.
So they say.
Yeah, my
Okay. Joe.
Hi.
Something said the accident happened just before 3 p.m. Eyewitnesses, onlookers, sightseers, or peepers. There are more than one. There is more than one answer here, but there is one best word.
Eyewitness.
Correct. Eyewitness is the best word. What does that mean?
When accident occurred, you just see it.
Yeah, that's right. Now, onlookers is
That
very
means
similar to sight. You're gone?
I don't know how to describe it.
Go on then.
他问旁观者要怎么做？Onlook means that you see something happen, but you do not do anything.
Yes, that's correct. Possibly also later. So an eyewitness to an accident saw it. They saw the accident. Onlookers may be a bit later. They come late and they're looking at the accident. They were not an eyewitness. They're now an onlooker. So they're watching it. That's another. And sightseers, what's that? What's a sightseer?
You take a trip to somewhere and see the scenery,
That's right.
the view.
Peepers? It's not really a word. You know what I mean?
See something secretly.
Yes, that's right. So if you're peeping, we normally don't say peepers, but to peep means to have a secret look. So if you're peeping at your girlfriend changing or something. So yes, and it's usually negative peep. It depends how, but children peep. Adults shouldn't, but they do. Okay, thank you. 10.
Hello, Nicholas.
Hello. So, which of these does not mean out of place, strange, or unusual? Now, bizarre, incongruous, irrefutable, or odd?
C, irrefutable.
Yeah, good. What does that mean, irrefutable?
What does that mean, irrefutable?
It means if you say something, but somebody may not agree with you, to retort
That's right.
you.
That's right.
That's right. So irrefutable means it cannot be argued. It's
Cannot
correct.
be argued. It's correct.
So you are irrefutably a male, Jen.
Irrefutably male, Jen.
You are not a girl.
You are not a girl.
Now, Chen, are you odd?
Now, Chen, are you odd?
I don't know. Maybe not.
No, your opinion is subjective.
Your opinion is subjective.
Not objective. What's
Not
the difference in those
objective. What's the
words?
difference in
Subjective
those
and
words?
objective.
Subjective and objective.
Subject means I don't know.
All right, roughly,
Right,
subjective is your
subjective
opinion.
is your opinion.
Objective is someone else's
Objective
opinion.
is someone else's opinion.
So if I say,
So if I say
Chen is odd,
Chen is odd,
you could say that's
you
objective.
could say that's objective.
Where if you say, I am
Whereas
not
if you
odd,
say, I am
that's
not
your
odd,
opinion,
That's your opinion.
and it's a subjective
And
because
it's a
you
subjective
are
because
biased.
You are biased.
You think you're wonderful,
You think you're wonderful.
not odd.
Not odd.
So now objective
So,
usually
now,
means
objective
factual.
usually means factual.
So if you go and
So if you
shoot Winnie,
Winnie,
we know that you're certainly very odd.
you're certainly very odd.
But it's an objective
But
opinion
it's an
because
objective
we
opinion
saw you
because
do it.
We saw you do it.
So that's all. Anyway,
So,
irrefutable,
anyway,
correct.
Irrefutable, correct.
Thank you, Chen.
Thank you, Chen.
You're welcome.
Minty.
Minty.
What
Hello?
does synonymous
What
mean?
does synonymous mean?
Conclusive, C. Sure about something.
Correct. Well,
Correct. Well,
yes, you're correct.
yes, you're correct.
So something definite is
Something
conclusive.
definite is conclusive.
And what does synonymous mean?
Equal. Oh.
Yeah, equal or the same.
Yeah, equal or the
What
same.
is reclusive?
What is
If you are reclusive, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Reclusive.
The noun is recluse. A recluse.
Lonely. Is right?
Sorry?
Sorry?
Okay. Live alone.
Yes, you don't like other
Reclusive.
people.
You don't like other people.
Like a hermit.
Like a hermit.
A hermit is somebody that lives by themselves and doesn't like other people. And it's like a recluse. So reclusive means you don't like, you like being by yourself. Inclusive?
I don't know how to how to say inclusive. Include.
Yes.
Oh yes, content. Content everything.
Yes, everybody.
Include something.
Inclusive means it's included. So if we have a group of people and everybody's in it, we call it an inclusive group. But if somebody is outside the group, then that's not inclusive. What's exclusive?
Exclusive. Only and special.
Correct. Would you like to go to an exclusive school?
What is exclusive school mean?
Very, very expensive and private.
Oh, okay. I don't want to.
No, I would. You get a very good education. But yeah, exclusive means something special usually. It's not always positive. So sometimes, for instance, in Australia, yes.
What do you mean by exclusive school here? Because maybe we don't have that in Taiwan. But if you give us some example, like the school that Prince Harry went to?
Correct. So exclusive means only some people can go. So an exclusive school, in Australia, it would be a private school that's very expensive. So for example, as you say, Prince Harry went to one. It usually means money. So this is an exclusive school. I don't know where that is. Actually, yes, this is in Britain. It's very expensive. It's probably $30,000 a year. That's US dollars, and it's very expensive. So the lower economic class people cannot afford to go. So that's an exclusive school. Okay?
Okay.
Now the other meaning of yes, go on.
Meaning that as long as you are rich enough, then you can go to. Not necessarily has to do with your background, right? Here in Kaohsiung and Taipei, and there are schools only for American citizens or for Japanese citizens.
Correct. They're also
Are they
exclusive.
also considered? Okay.
So it depends on why you're being excluded. So they're excluding people who are poor. They're excluding people who are of a different race. Or we say in Australia, different ethnicity. So for example, there are exclusively Muslim schools. I'm not Muslim, I can't go to a Muslim school. So they're exclusive because the poor can't go. And yes, poor usually means a different class. So lower classes cannot go, they don't want them. They don't want you if you are not Catholic or not something else. So yes, that's another reason for being exclusive. They only take one group of people. So they are not inclusive, they are exclusive. Okay?
C 呀，答案是 C。
All right. Thank you, Minty.
Thank you.
So the answer to that was actually conclusive, definite. All right. Chenny Chen.
Hello.
What is a prefix for?
Oh, prefix. The start of the vocabulary.
All right. What is the prefix of unknown?
And you don't know. Prefix.
What's the prefix?
Un.
Yeah, un. That's right. So un is the prefix. And if you remove the prefix, you often completely change the meaning of the word. So known means you know something, unknown means you don't. It doesn't always work that way,
Yes.
but often a prefix depends on what the word is. Now, valuable. What does that mean?
Variable. You can use something.
Valuable?
You can change money. Variable.
Well, it just means
if you
something
if you
not,
say
not,
something,
not variable. Valuable. Variable means you can change something. Valuable means if you have a valuable car. What does that mean?
how to say?
Yeah, a lot of money. So now if I say invaluable, what does that mean?
Nobody wants.
No, different. Everybody wants it. Invaluable means beyond value.
Oh.
Yeah, so that you have to be careful.
Oh.
So just because there's a prefix, it doesn't always mean
Priceless.
the opposite. Yeah, no, so valuable means, I don't know, it might be worth $1,000. Invaluable means beyond value. You can't price it. It's wonderful, it's great, and irreplaceable. Okay? Okay, now,
Okay.
the prefix crypto in cryptozoology originally comes from Greek. What's Greek? Or what country is Greek from?
Western Europe.
Yes,
Europe.
that's right. Do you know what a donut is?
Pardon?
Do you know what a donut is?
Donut.
Yes. Yeah, a donut. What's a donut?
In Greek, donut is a circle shape.
That's right.
Food.
Now, we have a question in. That's a donut. Now, my question is, where were the first donuts fried?
In Greek?
Well, we say
Maybe.
in Greece.
Or in Greece.
It's a play on words. Greece, the country, and Greece, the oil. So it's a joke, and we say, where were the first donuts fried? We say, in Greece, in Greece.
It's so
Not a very
funny.
funny joke, but... Oh. Well, I'm teaching you English, so I... All right. All right, we'll do this one then. Since it's not very funny. Unknown, hidden, mysterious, or secret. So one of those means crypto. Which do you think it is?
Secret.
Probably not.
Pardon?
Actually, no. I will say yes, you're correct.
Oh.
I was going to say unknown, but no, it's if you like, it's secret, it's concealed. Just a minute. I just want to check something. Wait a second. No, it actually means as used in cryptozoology, it actually means hidden. So cryptozoology means that you have to work hard to hide. It depends how you use it. There is a word, encrypt. What does that mean if you encrypt something?
You code. You
Yes,
you pass the password on
that's
something.
right. So
You want
encrypt
to
something, you hide the information. Okay, so it's hidden. So cryptozoology is the study of or the search for animals that don't really, or they're not really known. So if you're studying a yeti, that's cryptozoology because it doesn't exist. So, but anyway, it's hidden. We can't find it. So the meaning is actually of crypto is actually hidden. So it's like if you think of encrypt, that means you're hiding your data on your computer, for example, and encrypt in the middle means you're hiding it. So the word is hidden, not secret. It's a slightly different meaning, but the answer's hidden. Okay.
Okay.
Do you hide your password?
Yes.
Why?
Of course. Privacy.
Say it again.
Privacy.
That's right. You said privacy.
Everyone have privacy. Privacy.
It's privacy.
Privacy.
That's right.
Privacy.
3 syllables. Privacy.
Privacy.
That's right. That's better. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This is about the Chinese-Australian Free Trade Agreement, which was signed a few weeks ago. There are pros and cons to this agreement from the point of view of Australia. Nick.
Nicholas.
Yes.
What was the answer to the last question? Hidden or
crypto?
mysterious?
Crypto?
Yeah. What
Just
was
a minute.
the answer?
Just a minute.
Hidden.
So not mysterious?
No. Because
Okay.
I'm using the example of encrypt, where you hide something. So
Because
now,
our translation in the dictionary is mysterious zoology. So that means
that's why it's not a good question because it's equivocal. So select somebody to tell me what equivocal means. So that the meaning is equivocal. So who can tell me what equivocal means?
Nick, 回答他的问题啊。Equivocal 它是什么？ Say that again. I'll ask Nick to answer you.
All right. Yeah, Nick, what does equivocal mean? E-Q-U-I-V-O-C-A-L. I've typed it there. Sorry, no, I haven't. E-Q-U-I-V-O-C-A-L. Equivocal. So if something is equivocal,
Not clear. Seem to have two opposing meanings.
that's right. It can have opposing meanings. It depends on context. The answer to 5, Winnie. So 4 is irrefutable. 5 is conclusive because it's definite. And I'm saying the answer to the prefix one is crypto. But it is equivocal because you could say secret, you could say possibly unknown. Now, Nick, are you mysterious?
In some way.
Oh, in some ways, that's a very good answer. Because girls like mysterious men. Not too mysterious, but, you know, they don't want to hear everything at once, okay? So it is good being in some ways, because in other ways you must not be mysterious. They have to know you. All right, thank you, Nick. Okay, Pearl?
I was just explaining to students here that I think it's a problem with the translation. But I checked the wiki, and it says it's the study of hidden animal because of the lacking of evidence, and so that explains. But to us, you know, hidden just like mysterious. So maybe some students will choose
that's why it's equivocal, because it's not clear. I had to think about that because I was going to say unknown actually, because I don't look at the answers to these. I just do them. And I think I've done this before, but the answer is hidden.
Maybe Bing. It seems to him all for Bing was saying that it seems to him all the answers are okay.
Correct.
It's unknown,
Depends
it's
on
hidden,
context.
it's mysterious, and it's secret. Yeah, right.
Depends how you use them. Just 1 second. I want. We had a person in who was a film star called Mae West, and she said, I'll just type this. Actually, no, I won't. I'll put a picture up. Just a second.
Nicholas.
Yeah.
Is equivocal a big word? Because usually we just say ambiguous. We just use
ambiguous is the same.
Instead.
Ambiguous is the same.
Yeah, but
Same
equivocal is what?
Equivocal. No, it's
equivocal. Is it
no,
colloquial?
it's a formal word.
It's a formal word.
Okay.
And it means the same as ambiguous.
You don't use it.
And it means the same as ambiguous.
You usually
It
just
depends. People would say ambiguous. They would write equivocal. Now, this is a play on, if you like, it's equivocal. When I'm good, but when I'm bad, I'm better. Now, Dylan, what do you think is the meaning of this? So this lady is called Mae West. She was a film star. And she's quite famous for saying this. She says, when I'm good, I'm very good, but when I'm bad, I'm better. So what do you think it means?
Yeah. It's very 对呀对呀。坏的时候抽烟喝酒跳舞seduce你，对不对 ？You are better. She's even better.
说
Yeah.
说
那这样子吗？
还问这一句的意思啊？
这句
对啊，可是我不知道
这
怎么。
非常 seductive 啊，很引诱人啊，让你 imagine 啊。
It's static.
连 seductive 都不会讲。
Static.
What?
Static.
I was telling him the answer is seductive to say that.
That's right.
But he,
Seductive. All right. Dylan, how would you like
He's
to
too
be
young.
seductive?
How would you like to be seductive?
诱人。
How can a woman be seductive?
Woman be seductive.
No.
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 No doesn't work.
No doesn't work.
You know, Nicholas, you know,
Yeah.
this class is comprised of good students. Female students always wear t-shirts and denim pants, you know, and they don't even wear
Yeah.
makeup. So they don't know what
That's good.
it means to be seductive.
Oh dear.
That's
I'm
good.
just looking for a. All right. This picture is about the least offensive I can find. Now it is a picture. It means nothing. So please don't take offense to ladies. In some circles, in some places in the West, we would use the word seductive to describe this picture and this lady. Now, Dylan, what does seductive mean? Try and explain it to me.
很有诱惑的嘛，
So
很
sexy.
诱惑，胸部很丰满，腰很细，对不对？
So sexy.
Yeah,
Why is she
it's not. It's trying to be sexy.
No, it's trying to be sexy.
So seductive means
seductive
that something
means that
is
something
trying to be. So they're trying to seduce you.
So they're trying to seduce you.
And yes, that may involve sex. So
Yes,
if
that
they're
may
trying to
involve
seduce
sex.
you,
If
seduce
they're trying
is the
to
verb,
seduce
this is the
Seduce is
noun,
the verb,
sorry, the
this is
adjective.
the noun.
Now, we have an expression in English. I shall type this on the screen. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Now, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Now, I would not expect, beholder is the person concerned. So the beholder is the person concerned from the point of view. So beauty is in the eyes of the person who is talking. What do you think that means? Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Yes.
Beauty.
Yes.
Beauty is suggested.
Not suggestive, subjective.
Not subjective, subjective.
Subject.
So yes, correct.
So yes,
So
correct.
you may find this lady attractive.
You may find this lady attractive.
Somebody else may not.
Somebody else may not.
So what you think is beautiful
What you
is
think
your
is
opinion.
beautiful is your opinion.
What I think is beautiful
What I think is beautiful
may be different.
may be different.
So yes, subjective is a good way of putting it.
Subjective is a good way of putting it.
Now, if we go back to that,
Now, if we go back to
This lady, when I'm good, I'm very good.
When I'm good, I'm very good.
So it means she can be very seductive, but when I'm bad, I'm better. So when she's bad, she's very, very seductive. So being bad means that somebody's being rather naughty, a bit too sexy. So this is an often quoted line. She's dead now. This was about the 1930s, I think. So, but this has outlived her. And it's usually said in a particular tone of voice. When I'm good, I'm very good, but when I'm bad, I'm better. So there's a tone to it.
Can you try
you have to say.
Nicholas? Can you try?
Yeah.
Try to imitate how she would put it.
I can do that.
Just a
Yeah.
minute.
Try to imitate what she would say, how she would say it, in what kind of tone. Funny on YouTube?
Yes, I'm just finding. I think.
Sounds like a spoken by Marilyn Monroe, because she's
No,
more
it was,
familiar to us.
No, it was.
Yeah, it was actually somebody called Mae West, and here we go. A minute.
Let me take a good look at you.
Can you start that playing, please?
Sorry.
You were wonderful tonight.
I'm always wonderful at night.
Yes, but tonight you were especially good.
Well, when I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better.
We got it.
When Horace
So
Greeley
you
said,
see the
"Go
tone
west,
there.
young man," the West he was referring to was wild and untamed and held a fascination for the adventurous soul.
Very.
There's another legendary West that
I've got to
remains
put this
untamed
off now.
and appeals to the adventurous soul. And the one I'm
Okay.
referring to is known the world over for a breezy, witty kind of sexuality.
All right. So, if you like, she says it in a suggestive manner. Now, suggestive is usually suggestive means they're going to suggest that they have sex. So suggestive used like that, say, well, when I'm good, I'm very good, but when I'm bad, I'm better. I can't do it, but she did it very well. Okay? Right. Now, Australia and the Free Trade Agreement. Not suggestive. Dylan. What does pros and cons mean?
What does pros and cons mean?
Pros. Positive and negative.
That's right. So which is positive, pro or con?
Which is positive, pro or con?
Con.
Yeah, pro is plus.
Yeah, pro.
Con is negative.
Con is negative.
Okay, pros and cons.
Okay.
We also say sometimes
We also say sometimes
the fors
the
and the
for
against.
and the against.
Okay, so the pros and so what does this mean? The pros and cons of the Chinese
Pros and cons
Free
of the
Trade
Chinese
Agreement.
Nicholas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is this a one-page article or it's going to be lengthy?
2.
I was thinking can we just take a break because it's 10:15 here, and then we'll
Okay,
come back to
10
this
minutes.
article.
Okay. 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So we've had pros and cons, for and against this Chinese free trade agreement. Dylan, what is a free trade agreement? Yes.
Two countries, no
free trade.
no free trade, no tax.
No, it's not no tax. It means that. Oh, actually, it's less tax.
Yes,
So they.
less tax.
Yes. So if you have some sort of export. That China sends to Australia. You're right. There's no tax on it. What do they call the tax? Anyway, no tax, and it's the same the other way. So both parties agree to free trade. You know, you send ours, we send yours. Okay. Now that doesn't necessarily mean everything's good. So there are pros and cons of the federal government's free trade agreement with China. We look at potential benefits which the groups have missed out, and areas in which some analysts and fair trade campaigners say Australia will be worse off. So these are 2 points of view. Some groups have missed out, and other people say Australia will be worse off. So all is not good in everybody's point of view. Now, consumers may see cheaper prices. So these are the benefits for Australia. And we're only talking about Australia. I don't know about China. So I'm only talking about Australia. So consumers may see cheaper prices with 5% tariff on Chinese manufactured, with the 5% tariff on Chinese manufactured products such as electronics and white goods phased out. Now, Shannon.
Hi.
Hello, Shannon. Would you like to be phased out?
Hi. No.
No, it means removed slowly. All right. Now, what are consumers, Shannon?
Someone that will buy products from the store.
Good.
Or.
And what's the tariff?
Kind of tax.
Correct. On what?
When you buy products from the other country.
Right. Now, what are manufactured products?
Products that are not completely done.
Not completely what?
Done or I don't know.
All right, there's an example here. What are white goods? So what are white goods?
Oh, washing machine, like washing machine.
That's right. So manufactured products are Shannon, are you a manufactured product?
No.
Yes. Why
I
not?
am.
Yes. Why not?
What do you mean? No.
So why are you not a manufactured product?
Because because I'm unique and I'm born by my parents, not from the
Good.
factory.
Good. That's right.
Good. That's right.
Now, with all that in mind, can you explain to me in your words what this means?
You mean this paragraph?
Yes.
Yes.
This means that the product from Chinese from Chinese will become cheaper, or
Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
So the products from China will become cheaper. By how much?
5% tariff.
That's right. So that will be removed, phased out over a couple of years, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shannon.
Okay. Thank you, Shannon.
And I agree, you're not manufactured. Don't worry. All right. Now, tariffs of up to 30% for beef, dairy, sheep, pork, live animals, hides, skins and leather, horticulture, wine and seafood to be eliminated within 2 to 9 years. Ivy.
Hi.
Would you like to be eliminated?
No.
What does eliminated mean?
It's make it disappear.
That's right. Have you heard of James Bond?
Yes.
He used to eliminate people. What does that mean?
Kill people.
That's right, kill people. So eliminate means make them go away. Now, what is the equivalent phrase in here? So look back at the previous paragraph and tell me 2 words which means the same as eliminated. So in this sentence, what means the same as eliminated? Look at the last 2 words.
Phase out.
Very good. So those 2 mean the same.
Oh.
Okay. Now, It says tariffs of up to 30%. Now, what animal does beef come from?
Cow.
That's right, cow. Dairy?
Cow.
Cow. Pork?
Yes. 这个
Pig, correct. Now, what is a hide? If I tell you a hide, a skin, and leather are all the same,
牛皮
what do they mean?
is the animals and their skin.
That's right. So when the animal dies, they cut its skin off, and that's the animal hide. And when they treat it, they put chemicals on it, and it becomes leather. Okay? So leather is it's animal skin, and it's treated. It's dried. I think. What's horticulture?
Is like flowers or plants.
Correct.
Gardening.
Where does wine come from? What fruit?
Grape.
Yes, I heard somebody tell you that answer. What seafood?
Food in the sea.
Give me an example.
Fish.
All right. Fish.
Lobster.
What's a crustacean?
I don't know.
Shellfish. And lobster. Crab. They've all got... What have lobsters and crabs got in common? What do they have on their back?
Shell.
A shell, that's
They
right.
are very hard.
Now, see if you understand this. I'll type this. Do you know what a fancy dress party is?
So,
Fancy dress party.
yes.
What is it?
Yes. Is you wear very wear very fancy costume to a party.
Right. A man went to a fancy dress party with a woman on his back. He told people, just a minute, he was a lobster.
Oh.
All right? And this is because...
Can you show us the picture?
I can't show you a
Yeah,
picture,
a
this is
picture
a
of that.
joke.
This is a joke. Okay, and the woman is a shell?
That's the one. Her name was Michelle.
Okay. Okay, that was funny.
Yeah, I just... so that's a play on words. Michelle. Because she's a lobster. Okay, now let's go back to where we were. Sorry. Now, so tariffs of... So we've got 30% tariffs on all these things to be eliminated within 2 to 9 years. Ivy, why do you think they're taking so long to get rid of these tariffs? Why not take them away straight away? So why such a long time to remove these tariffs?
They can have a buffer time.
Yes. What do you mean by buffer time? You're right, but what do you mean?
somebody will lose money.
Yes, that's right. So the farmers will lose money if it's too quick. So this is giving them a time to change themselves and make sure that they're not going to lose money. Thank you, Ivy. Ivy, would you like to be a farmer?
Huh?
Would you like to be a farmer?
Maybe when I'm old, I would like to.
All right, we're going to give you now. Which do you want to do? Beef, dairy, sheep, or pork? Which one? Or
Dairy.
Dairy. Why?
Because I like to drink milk.
Okay, fair. Do you? Okay. Thank you, Ivy.
Thank you.
Right. Now, China will permit Australian firms to establish profit-making aged care institutions throughout China, wholly owned Australian hospitals in certain provinces. Alan.
Hi.
What's an aged care institution?
And it's a place to take care of the aged.
Correct. Another word is facility. An aged care facility, and that means that that's where people go if they can't take care of themselves. Traditionally, Alan, who looks after the elderly in China? Who normally looks after the elderly in China?
Younger generation.
That's right. Why is this changing?
Because the young generation is are moved out to find job.
Yep. And they're also becoming more selfish, or no, self-centered. What does self-centered mean?
They care about their self.
That's right. More than their elders. So that is changing. And this is a very big thing for Australia, because what's the population of China, roughly?
$13 billion.
Not 13 billion, 1.3. So 1.3 billion people.
Okay.
The population of the Earth is only 7 billion at the moment. So unless the Chinese are hiding a lot of people, it's only 1.3 billion. So 1.3 billion. What's the population of Australia?
I don't know.
20 million. What's the population of Taiwan?
Uh, 23 million.
Right. So demographics is not your strong point. The demographics of the number of people and what. Anyway, so Now, there's a lot of old people in China, aren't there? And a lot of Chinese want to learn English. So, profit-making aged care institutions. Who's making profit? Alan, who's making profit?
Australia.
Correct. Australian firms who go to these places. What wholly Australian-owned hospitals? Put that in your words.
The whole hospital is Australian, include doctor,
All right.
nurse, or...
That's right. Is that everywhere everywhere in China?
Yeah. Yes.
No. That's why I put what's in certain provinces.
Oh.
Now, why? Why can't Australia have hospitals everywhere in China?
Because the Chinese were protect.
Correct. Where do you think Australia will be allowed to put hospitals? And why? So where and why can Australia put their hospitals in China?
Hong Kong.
Yeah, but what provinces do you think will get Australian hospitals? Do you think there will be Chinese hospitals in these places?
Somewhere no Chinese.
That's right. Where there's no hospitals, that's where Australia will be allowed to put their hospitals. Now that's called win-win. So that means China don't have to pay for a hospital, because Australia will put one there. So then the place where there's no hospital gets a hospital, and Australia makes a profit. So we really don't want Australian hospitals in Beijing, because there's already lots of Chinese hospitals. So it will only be in certain provinces where the Chinese want a hospital. So they don't want the Australians running around all over China. Okay, thank you, Alan. Now, Australian business is allowed to take a majority stake in joint ventures, which provide services in agriculture, forestry, hunting and fishing in China. So this is, these are potential benefits, remember. So this is saying that Australian businesses are going to be allowed to take a majority stake in joint ventures. Jerry.
Hi.
What is a joint venture?
Both China and Australia invest.
Correct. So both countries invest in a project. Now, what does it mean Australian businesses can have a majority stake?
Australian invest more than Chinese. Hi. 怎么了吗？ Hi. Hello. 我啊，我讲完了。他讲完了，好像可以。断线。没有，我还走。3。
Are you still there? Growing up crops.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I sneezed, so I put
Yes.
it off. So, Jerry, can
Maybe
you
you
read
need
that back to me?
coffee.
Can you read that back to me?
So, Jerry,
What was
the
the
science or
question?
practice? So, what is agriculture? I put this definition here. Read it to me.
Okay.
The science or practice of farming, including cultivation of the soil for the growing of crops and the rearing of animals to provide food, wool, and other products.
Right, now that is agriculture. Now, I just put a definition of horticulture. Read that to me. The branch of agriculture that...
The branch of agriculture that deal with the art, science, technology, and business of vegetable garden plant growing.
Right, so what's the difference between horticulture and agriculture?
Agriculture. Horticulture is about plants, and
that's right.
Agriculture is about animal.
And plants.
Include animal.
That's right. That's right. So horticulture is plants only. Agriculture is animals as well. Are you an animal, Jerry? good. What's forestry?
Uh, uh, the science that deal with growing forest.
Yes, all right. What's hunting?
Hunt. It's about kill animal.
All right, so you hunt cows, do you?
No.
Why not? You said it's killing of animals. We kill cows, so why is killing cows not hunting?
We were we were hunt deer or fox.
Yeah, wild animals is hunting. Most cows we say are domesticated. Domesticated means that we look after them and we get products from them, so beef, milk and so on. Wild animals are what you hunt. What's fishing?
Fishing is什么抓鱼？Goldfish.
Yes. Can you hunt fish?
No.
You can actually. So we call it big game fishing. And some people go out looking for very large fish to catch, like marlin. Marlin is a very big fish. They catch them, then they throw them back in the sea. That's called big game fishing. So there is actually a market because some people like hunting fish. Now, how do you stop a fish from smelling? So how do you stop a fish from smelling?
We could stop a fish from smelling by freeze it.
Yeah, you could also cut off its nose.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Jerry.
Okay.
Now, improved access to partnerships with Chinese firms for legal and financial services, but 49% Australian ownership limit on financial services joint ventures. Winnie. You're a yellow
Yes.
Winnie today.
Yes.
Winnie, we're talking about financial services. That's money services like banks. And it says Australia will be limited to 49% ownership. So in other words, Australia will be 49, that's Australia, and China will keep 51% of ownership. Why are they doing that, do you think? So China will have 51 and Australia cannot have more than 49. Why are they doing that? Talking about financial services.
So the Chinese will be Chinese can control the bank, not the Australia.
Correct. So the Chinese don't want to give too much money to Australia. So they're keeping what we call the majority stake. Now, do you know what gambling is, Winnie?
To play the game and win them, you have to.
That's right. Now, do you know horse racing?
Yes, the horse.
If
Yeah.
If you put a bet on a horse, what does that mean?
You think this horse will win?
That's right. Now, if you have a stake in the horse's, actually, all right. Sometimes a bet is a stake. So a bet, you put a stake on a particular, you gamble something, and we sometimes say we have a stake in something, and we also say we have a stake in ownership of an institution, so like an aged care or a joint venture. That's a stake in this case, Australia must only have 49% or less. Now, what's the other meaning of a stake? So there's S-T-A-K-E. What's the other spelling that changes the meaning of stake?
Do you mean that a steak that can eat?
Yeah, can you spell the other form of stake?
S-T-E-A-K.
Right, where? That's right, S-T-E-A-K. What animals does that come from?
A cow?
Cow or even a bull. What's the difference between a cow and a bull?
The cow that produce milk, and the bull we eat their.
We eat cows as well.
We eat
yeah, but you're right.
Yeah,
we eat bulls.
milk
But
from
what's
cow.
the difference between them? Other than milk.
The cow is female and the bull is
That's right.
male.
That's right. Okay, thank you, Winnie. Okay, so Foreign Investment Review Board, SUBA, will continue to screen all investments by Chinese state-owned enterprises. So this is talking about in Australia. So this review board, the foreign investment, that means China bringing money into Australia, will screen all investment by Chinese state-owned enterprises. Australian firms will have some rights to sue Chinese governments for any policy changes that adversely affect their interests. Tina.
Hi.
What does sue mean? If you sue something. Somebody rather. S-U-E.
Accused?
Different. You're not really accused.
If someone do something wrong, you can sue him and to go to the court and claim you are right.
That's right. So if somebody Yeah, so that means you're trying to get money out of them. Americans love suing each other. So one person does something to offend you, and the other person says, right, I'm going to sue you, and that's because you want them to pay you money for offending them. So there's more to it, but that's the idea. Now, it says that Australian firms have some, not all, not full, to sue Chinese firms. Now, why would Australian firm sue a Chinese firm? Look at the last line and tell me in your words why an Australian firm might sue a Chinese firm. What reason?
Because Chinese government is not their policy is not very stable. They
So if the Chinese government changes its policy, it may adversely affect their interest. Who does their refer to? Australia or China?
Australia.
Good. It's referring back to Australia. So if the Chinese government make any changes in their policy or their law that is adversely positive or negative?
Negative.
Right. So any negative policy changes that cost Australia money, they can sue the Chinese government to get their money back. It's a bit like why they're going to take up to 9 years to make the changes, because some people will lose money because of these changes. So some people may sue the Chinese government. Do you think they'll get their money? So do you think if they sue the Chinese government, they will actually get their money?
Maybe not.
Maybe not, exactly. So, and suing is expensive. You have to go to court and pay money and pay lawyers. And lawyers are expensive, and they do like spending money. Okay, thank you, Tina. Now, this is the last slide in this. These are the negatives for Australia, the cons. Now, there's no tariff reduction on sugar, rice, wool, cotton, wheat, maize, or canola. Canola is an oil. It's a cooking oil. Maize is a crop. Wheat is a crop. Cotton is all right. Alice.
Hi.
What animal does cotton come from?
Sheep.
Sheep. Cotton.
A kind of plant.
That's right. It's actually quite interesting, cotton. We do grow cotton in Australia, surprisingly. And these are, sorry, it's not a bit, those are cotton. Actually, that picture's too small, just a minute. So these are cotton plants, and the little area at the top is cotton, and they go around, they chop this off, they process it, and it can be turned into the cotton that you know, sort of on a bobbin. Now these are not an animal, Alice. They don't. You can't eat them. Now, sorry. Now I think we've decided that wool comes from sheep. Where does sugar come from? It's not an animal. It's a crop. But what do we call before you get sugar? Where does it come from?
Sugar cane.
That's right. And again, we have that in Australia because it not everywhere, but it needs to be hot and wet to grow sugar cane. And these are up to 2 meters high. They're big plants. They're very tall, and they chop them down. And this is sugar cane, and then they crush these. So by crushing them, you get raw sugar, and then you keep on crushing them, and they get, if you like, the white sugar that you know. Do you like sugar, Alice?
No.
Why?
It is too sweet. And
yes, I don't. Yes, I don't. Go on.
Huh?
Go on.
And it will make me fat.
That's right. So too much sugar makes you fat. What else is it bad for?
Hmm?
What other bad effects can it have? So yes, it makes you fat.
Yes.
What else?
Stupid.
Stupid?
My Shannon say it will make me stupid.
Well, all right. What other effects does it have on your body, never mind your mind?
What?
What other effects can sugar have on your body?
Okay. Oh. Cavity.
Yes, it can rot your teeth, you say in English. It rots your teeth. What does it do to your breath if you have rotten teeth?
Smell terrible.
That's right. We call it bad breath. And it stinks. It's not nice. And all right, that's about all. That's enough. But it can make you stupid actually. If you have too much of it, you can go. Your levels of sugar can go up in your blood, and you can actually go a bit strange. But that's usually disease. Okay. Yeah. Do you cook with oil, Alice? Do you ever cook?
Yes.
Are you a good cook?
Yes, I'm a good cook.
What do you cook?
Good cook. I can cook everything.
All right.
Easy. Easy.
What boy would you like to cook for in the class?
I can cook fish and vegetables. And
All right. Thank you, Alice.
他说难吃啊。
Now, the threshold is the, if you like, the border or the place where something changes. So the threshold is a place where something changes. So where one thing goes to another is the border or the threshold. So if you're going along and suddenly something suddenly goes up, that's the threshold of change, the place where something different happens. So the threshold for Foreign Investment Review Board screening means they look at it. They check it. So screening means they check it. So the threshold for them for checking Chinese investment in non-sensitive sectors like excludes agriculture, media, telecoms and defense. Excuse me a minute. I've got a cold. I'm sneezing. So the threshold for screening of Chinese investments rises to $1 billion, 1,094 million, which is just over $1 billion. Now, this is a negative for Australia. So if China invests in Australia, Nicole.
Hi.
Why might, if let's say telecom. No, let's say defense. What does defense mean?
Guns, armies.
Yeah, so the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. Now, what's telecom?
Satellite.
Sorry?
Satellite.
Yes, satellite.
Communication.
Communications, that's right. Media?
Internet, television.
That's right. Now,
broadcast.
These areas, so agriculture, media, telecoms, defense, they will continue to be screened. So they're still looking at, so if China buy any of these in Australia, they'll be screened. So in other words, they'll be checked by this board of people to make sure that they're okay. Now, why would Australia be concerned if China tried to buy these things? So if China tries to buy these things, why would Australia be worried if China buys in these areas? I'm just typing this for you. So why would Australia be worried if China tries to buy agriculture, media, telecom or defense?
Then China will change them.
Yeah. So Australia, most of the Australian income is from farming and agriculture. So we don't want China owning too much. We don't want China telling us what we can publish in our media. We don't want China controlling our communication, and we don't want China communing our defense. So these areas, China will probably not be allowed to buy much or take much in. However, everything else is, these areas are sensitive. Everything else that's non-sensitive, they may be able to buy something. Now, Nicole, are you sensitive or non-sensitive?
Sensitive, I guess.
Right. What does sensitive mean? If you describe a person as sensitive, what do you mean?
Means you you can easily find someone that normally what's that?
Depends how it's used. It can be positive or negative. So I might say, Nicole is a very sensitive young woman. Now that's positive. We're saying that you care about other people, you're very conscious of other people's emotions. However, we might say, oh, she's really sensitive, and that means you cry too much. You're too emotional. So it depends on the context. It depends on the tone of the conversation. So sensitive can be positive or negative. It depends on how it's used. Okay? Now, this has nothing to do with sensitive here. So these areas, agriculture, media, telecom, and defense, we're using the word sensitive here in a different way to say that if China or any other country got hold of these, started being able to influence them, that would be bad. So these are everything else, non-sensitive, China can invest in, but these areas will continue to be watched. Okay? Thank you, Nicole. Now, Chinese firms will have some rights to sue Australian government, so this is the opposite. So you remember, Australian companies can sue the Chinese government, the same applies. So what's a pro for one is a negative for the other. So that's a common thing. So we can sue you and you can sue us. Chinese investments in projects valued over 150 million will receive additional rights to bring in temporary migrant workers without local labour market testing. Now, Kevin, why would China want to bring in temporary migrant workers instead of using Australian workers? So why would we want a migrant worker rather than an Australian worker?
Because they are cheaper than Australia's people.
Exactly. Exactly. Australians are very expensive. Migrant workers are cheap. That's the exact reason. Okay. Can we have a 5-minute break, though? Okay.
Before I ask you this question, okay?
Yeah.
When you eat a steak, do you know whether it's from a cow or from a bull? And
Not usually.
Not usually.
Okay. And what kind of disease will you develop as working as a cotton picker? Cotton picker. Will you develop lung disease?
There is a lung disease. Just a minute.
Okay. Another question while you are looking for answer is that has Australia established free trade with any country other than China in the past?
Yes, with America.
And the result?
The result is very good for Australia.
Okay.
Because we sell a lot of things to America and there's no tariff.
Okay.
I'm not sure about with Taiwan. I think there is an agreement between Australia and Taiwan.
Uh-huh.
Business. So bitty nose, can you hear me? Yeah. It's due to inhaling cotton dust, or actually also due to sugar cane, and it causes a lot of problems with breathing and coughing, and it can actually kill you. We don't see much anymore because everybody wears masks now, so they're shielded from the dust. But if in countries that don't have proper safety, they can get this disease, and it used to be quite common. So when I was young, we often saw people with lung disease due to inhaling things like cotton dust and problems from working in sugar cane fields.
A cotton field in Australia?
Yes, we have lots of cotton. And lots of sugar cane.
Okay, so you employ a lot of foreign workers.
We also employ a lot of Australians because there's not many jobs.
Oh,
we make our
really?
young people go and work on them. Yeah, a lot of backpackers too.
Okay. And what's the minimum wage per month? For this kind of labor per month?
$15 Australian.
Per day? Per hour?
Per hour, yeah. For those over 18. Under 18, it's about $11.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Why don't we take a break first, and we will see. Okay, if there's any question from the students, okay?
Sounds good. All right, just about 5 minutes, not very long. Okay. Are there any more questions from what we were talking about before? Anybody?
I just asked them, but I guess not.
All right.
Nicholas.
Yes.
There was one incident that a Chinese businessman, a rich person, he bought a monumental building in Spain, and then he raised protests from all over Spain because he wanted to demolish the building and rebuild a new one. So really, you have to worry about what they would do once they move into Australia.
We already have 50% ownership of several very large cattle stations by China, and there's worry that in the case of food wars, so if we ever get to the point where the world is short of food, that China will say, right, these are our cattle and we're sending all the meat back to China. And that's already a problem because they own 50%. This was before Australia brought in regulations. So yes, there are potential problems.
Okay, now is it easy for them to get citizenship from your country? Because they are investors?
There is a business migrant, and I think, I don't know the exact money, but if you have about $10 million, 10 million Australian, you can come as a business migrant with your family and get to, but you have to stay
in the
5
bank?
years.
10 million in the
must have
bank
10
or
million cash in the
in
bank.
investment for 5 years?
And you must put it into an Australian bank, and it has to stay there for 5 years. And you have to stay in the country minimum 5 years. So in the past, they could, 10 years ago, they needed $1 million, and they could come, put it in a bank, get Australian citizenship, and then leave. And they had the citizenship, they could take the money home, they could take the citizenship. So that's changed. So the rules are harder, but people still do it because they want to, but they want to protect themselves in case of trouble in China.
One saying is, many of their money, it's not, it may not be all that legal, and they are eager to move the money out of China.
Yes.
Instead, for fear that the policy change might confiscate their income.
Yeah, well, Australia is quite happy to accept it.
To continue with this picture of goldfish.
It's not a goldfish.
Goldfish. What is it?
Shelly. Yeah, Shelly. Tell Pearl what sort of fish that is.
Hello.
Hello. Read the caption.
Fighting fish.
Yeah. How do you make them fight? You give them guns or?
Pull them together.
That's right. You put them together and they fight. Now, describe the fish's tail. How are you going to describe it? What words? It's not easy.
It's like a fan.
Like a what? Like a, all right, fan shape.
Fan. Yes.
What color?
White and pink.
All right. If I said translucent and pink, what does translucent mean?
Transparent.
Light can get through.
Oh.
So a window is translucent. And what is the opposite word to translucent? Shelley? So if it's not translucent, what is it?
Shadow.
Opaque. Opaque means it's a solid color. So if you like, this is opaque. You can't see through it. So translucent is see-through. Opaque means you can't see through. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
Describe that
Yes.
picture.
Describe that picture.
And do not call it an
Do
alligator.
not call it an alligator.
A huge crocodile lay on this Toyota car.
Right, truck.
Right, truck.
Truck, yes.
Now, do you think the crocodile is still alive?
The crocodile is still alive.
Maybe it is the date.
That's a good answer. I think it's correct, actually.
I think it's correct, actually.
Because usually they put something round its jaw, and I don't know, but it doesn't look dead for some reason.
It doesn't look dead for some reason.
Perhaps it's just hitched a ride.
Perhaps it's just hitched a ride.
But it just looks sort of, well, it must be large, because that is about 1.5 meters. So that's another, 0.5, and then there's at least a meter out there. So the thing's about 3 or 4 meters long. So it's not one you want to meet too often. And just very quickly, do the last one. What's that? Actually, bug chin. What's that? Bug China.
It's a special kind of plant.
Yeah. Do you know what sort of, do you know what it's called?
Bonsai tree.
That's bonsai. Do you have bonsai in Taiwan?
Yes.
I think they're very beautiful bonsai. I like them. What's special about this bonsai?
Yeah, sure. It's 550 years old.
That's right. So it's believed to be the oldest living bonsai.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, China. All right. Anything else, Pearl?
Right on time,
Okay.
12 o'clock. Okay, thank you.
Have a nice weekend. Have a nice week, everybody. And I'll see you next week and a weekend. Bye-bye.